歡迎各位又嚟到加國生活，每逢晚上11點至12點喺 FM105.9 廣播直播室有3位朋友，包括我哋嘅節目主持Josephine Powell 啦，仲有 Jenny Low 啦，仲有我 Alex 啊。咁Josephine Powell， 今日我哋係講 Mr. Saga 市長係咪？咁農曆新年嘅節目咁樣，咁不如咧我就去一去條片先，好嘛？咁大家好，可以開始去一去條片。咁有埋聲嘅。
It's my pleasure to introduce you the mayor of my great city, Miss Auger. Okay, and she's born in Columbia, and before she joins, politics, she was an entrepreneur. So you can expect Miss Auger is going to be more prosperous and more powerful. Yeah, okay.
And run like a business, Josephine. Don't forget that. There we go. So let me just wish everybody a very happy new year, very healthy in particular, and prosperous. So I'd like to say, 新年快樂, very happy new year. Gong Shi Fat Choi, of course, and Gong Shi Fat Say. So very happy new year in as many of the dialects as I can manage. And of course, just hoping very much that this year will be better and brighter and more prosperous than last year. And I hope there weren't too many people feeling the effects of COVID. I think we all know somebody who did come down with COVID, and very unfortunate. I hope if you did, the symptoms were light, and let's hope that this is a better year. The vaccines are here. So I'm very hopeful that this will be a much better, brighter year.
咁我哋就停一停呢度，因為咧我哋呢個節目咧就如果係播放咧就年初3播放嘅，咁雖然係赤口咁，但係我哋都可以恭賀下啲 audience， 咁恭喜大家喺牛年咧就快樂啦，咁身體健康啦，萬事如意啦，神年輝樂啦，順泰堅航啦，咁樣即係學嗰啲即係外國人講廣東話，新年快樂，身體健康。咁Jenny 或者 Josephine 有冇啲恭賀詞啊？
我都恭喜大家咧，新年快樂，身體健康。如果個市場咧一路咧都係牛氣沖天嚇，我哋身體咧亦都要好似隻牛咁，好堅韌、好強壯。但係咧，大家咧最緊要開心心。比較咧就要向注重咧係家庭嘅和諧。希望大家生活愉快美滿。
Jenny
我咧就恭喜大家萬事如意，身體健康。咁做生意嘅就會越嚟越好嚇，生意興隆。最緊要咧個身心健康。咁仲有家宅平安。
家宅平安。咁我希望你同埋 Joseph 啦，生意越做越大，越做越好，可以多啲回饋社會啦。咁不如咧，我就去一去，即係我哋因為分4條題目，咁我哋啲時間都事不宜遲啦。咁先去第一條題目，就係 Josephine Powell 講嘅 local economy。我哋去一去條片，咁然之後咧轉頭咧就可以 comment 啦。OK？ 咁
What is like the economic outlook, in Miss Auger, despite a year of hardship?
Yes, so I have very good news about that. We started the year with an operational deficit, but we worked very hard to overcome that as a city. We put in all kinds of mitigating measures. We canceled any discretionary funding or any discretionary spending, which was great. We did have unfortunately lay off 2,000 people, the part-time people that staffed all our rec centers, our cultural facilities, of course, because those were closed. Even the libraries. So we did everything we could to get our house in order. And then, of course, we're not allowed to run deficits. Unlike the federal and the provincial governments, we're not permitted to run a deficit. And we are the only level of government that actually laid off people during the recession because we tried to be, very fiscally responsible. And so we had to do that, make those tough decisions. But of course, the federal and the provincial governments put those financial supports in place to help people. So they did that. And I will say that the mayors right across Canada and the provincial mayors too in Ontario, we came together and we asked for operational funding. Now, this is unprecedented. They don't like to give us money because, of course, we have to have a balanced budget. Unlike them, they can borrow, we cannot. We have to have a balanced budget. Whatever we take in is all we can spend. But this year was quite different. We were losing $7.5 million every month just in transit on our My Way transit. So they did come forward with funding, and I will share with you that between the measures we put in place, some cost cutting, we found some savings by eliminating some transit routes and not hiring any new people, and we did whatever we could, and we will end the year in a good solid position, so there won't be a deficit, and we're coming into the new year the same. Now, we are in a very strong position in Mississauga. We've always been fiscally responsible. I'm happy to tell you we will only have a 0.9% increase, under 1% increase. But of course, I have to have a little bit because I have union contracts that are, 65% of my costs are labor costs. And those union contracts are still 2%, so we have to. Plus, we're continuing to put money aside for debt repayment and interest repayment and infrastructure levy. So a little bit of money has to go away to protect ourselves too. So that's where we come up with the 0.9. It's under 1%, and I'm very, very pleased about that. Now, we are continuing to build and to grow in Mississauga. I know we'll talk about the LRT later, so I won't talk about that. But in the south of the city, so much development going on. We have the former power plant, the OPG, Ontario Power Generation, 167 acres being built. There'll be 15,000 people, 5,000 jobs, mixed-use community. Mixed use, so housing, residential, as well as commercial, business, etc. There will be an area that we call the Innovation Corridor. The city owns some land there that we will put a center of excellence or maybe university campus. This is very exciting news for us. And then towards the west end of the city, also in the south, was the former oil refinery, the Texaco oil, right? And that's on 72 acres, also waterfront. Both of these are waterfront communities being rebuilt, reclaimed land that was brownfields. So I'm very pleased. And then around the Port Credit, right in the downtown, we will be looking at the marina lands there, and there's 15 acres that is owned by the federal government, Canada Lands, and we'd like to put a public marina, and that area will be redeveloped. So that's just in the south. The other area that's incredibly is Eglinton and Pure Ontario, and you will remember the Emerald Restaurant, of course, and even that plaza was being proposals for redevelopment. All four corners of Eglinton and Pure Ontario, we're now calling that Uptown. Our Uptown is being redeveloped. It's quite interesting. And then finally, last one is the downtown. You've heard of M City being built, but I actually have 25 towers breaking ground in the next 5 years, which is very exciting. And then in my downtown, there are
OK， 咁所以其實即係我想問一問 Jenny， 聽完條片你覺得點？
個 progress 好似好多，嚟緊呢5年咧，好似好多建設啊，好多 project 啊咁樣咯。咁一件好事嘅，每逢一次嘅 pandemic 咧，通常咧就會係喺建設方面開始嘅。汽車啊、建設啊、製造業開始嘅，咁個方向係正確嘅，我覺得係正確嘅。即係阿 Maya 喺 Mississauga， 佢即係 Mayor Crombie 佢做個方向咧，佢個 planning， 佢個 strategy for 未來呢5至10年咧係正確嘅。每逢一次嘅 pandemic， 通常都應該係咁做。
係嗱，不如我就即係簡單高呼一啲佢啲 local 嘅 development 嘅嘢啦，好嘛？咁就即係我就可以咧就係放一放，咁咧就其實佢講過2樣嘢。第一樣嘢咧就因為咧嘅即係 municipal government 咧就即係唔可以有 budget deficit 嘅，咁所以咧其實好多 mayor 就呼嘅 FCM 咧就同上級啲政府，尤其是 federal 咧就開始咧就係講話即係可唔可以補翻啲錢俾佢哋啊咁樣。咁所以其實 as a result 咧 Mississauga 咧係舊年年中8月咧就喺 Ontario 攞咗已經46個 million 嘅啦，咁比其他 city 都多一啲嘅。咁然之後去到年尾咧， 亦有20個 million， 咁所以其實咧喺嗰度幫補下嘅。咁因為咧 city 咧就好多 temporary worker， 咁所以咧就 Mississauga 就唔可以幸免啊。譬如啲park 啊、library 啊，甚至乎有啲 summer job 啊嗰啲全部咧就都要 lay off 啦。咁即係佢講係2000人啦。咁其實2000人 relative 係少嘅。其他嗰啲 city 咧譬如 Markham 過千嘅 ，Richmond 又過千嘅 ，Vaughan 又過千嘅。OK， 咁所以呢個係 Toronto 我就唔知 figure， 但係嗰個係現實咁樣樣。咁啊 Josephine 有冇咩補充
？Alex，你頭先話其他啲 city 過千，但係 Mississauga 係2000喎，佢呢個係2000喎。係
啊，所以做得相當好嘅。Mississauga 相對嚟講係做得好啲㗎。係。好。咁然之後咧就佢亦都提到咧就幾個即係重要嘅 development 啦。呢個其中就係講緊話嗰個 OPG， 咁啊167個 acres 咧。咁其實佢呢個叫 Lakeview 啊 ，Lakeview 其實即係我唔知 exactly 喺邊度，或者Josephine 拋就可以知道。
我講俾你聽，其實如果阿 Jenny 你以前留意咧，你會覺得我哋拎翻幾年前係有個3支煙通嘅喎，咁嗰咧就嗰個係 coal-fired power plants 嚟嘅。後來咧，因為環保啦，亦都係我哋嘅能源多咗啦，就係 close 咗佢嘅，咁就要重新啦。即係下面嗰啲contaminant 咧就要clear 啦。咁呢個係好大嘅工程嚟㗎。而唔講唔知咧，其實Mississauga 係有好多能源嘅嘅 power plant 嘅。頭先Alex 你都講Bonnie Crombie 啦講過啦 ，Texaco 嗰度啦，係咪？嗰個
係呢個 Brightwater 呢個係啦，
係啦。Texaco 係另外一個，呢個係另外一個㗎。呢個係個 oil refinery close 咗就做 Brightwater 啦。咁所以其實佢兩個都係waterfront 嘅。咁咧仲有一個咧就響我哋嘅即係係
咪 MCT 啊
？Clarkson 嗰度仲有一個 oil refinery。咁即係話如果有一日咧，我哋將啲能源轉晒做 green energy 啊，或者甚至係nuclear power plant，
咁可以搞地產啦。
咁嗰度全部咧係好多地嘅。咁目前嚟講咧，之前咧我哋 Mississauga 係保留所有 waterfront 嘅地啦。之前咧就係唔賣出去嘅，就係做 park 嘅。如果你喺 Lakeshore 咧，你係由一個 park 可以通去第二個 park， 第三個 park 咁一路去 Marina 響Highway 10嗰度又有，另外響Oakville 嗰度又有，所以其實係一個好宜人嘅地方嚟嘅。咁我哋 Mississauga 能夠咧響呢啲咁嘅地區啦，咁貴嘅地區。嗱，我話俾你聽點樣貴法咧，其實一個 townhouse 上呢度 waterfront 啦，係好多年前咧，我睇過啦，已經係1 million 㗎啦，好多年前啊，1 million 一個 townhouse， 咁所以呢啲係貴嘅地嚟㗎，咁佢仍然能夠係保留一啲擺一啲地出嚟留翻做即係嗰個 subsidized housing 啦，同埋rental market 嘅affordable housing， 我覺得係幾好啦。
咁呢度咧就係即係 Brightwater 啦，就係即係如果冇睇錯咧，冇記錯係大約7500個人嘅 population， 咁然之後咧就好似話4-5千嘅 job 㗎，或者3-4千嘅 job。咁呢個咧就係即係講緊 Lakeville 嗰度嘅 redevelopment OPG 嗰個咧，即係亦都係如果冇記錯，應該係McGuinty嗰陣時嗰個有少少 scandal 嗰個
冇錯
嗰個地方啦。咁佢呢度咧就係講緊係大約咧就係15000個 population， 咁然之後5000個 job， 咁所以咧其實即係有兩個大型嘅 development 喺個 Lakeshore 嗰邊喺南邊嗰度，其實相對嚟講係即係對一個 city 係個 attraction， 因為 city 嚟嗰陣時即係啲人話喂揀 city 好多時揀工，如果唔係揀工咧，咁啊揀個環境。咁如果 Lakeshore 有咁多 development 落 Mississauga 相對嚟講係一個好大嘅 attraction， 但係其中第三個咧就近住呢個 Mississauga 嘅 City Centre Square One 嗰度隔離咧，就有呢個 MCT 梗係重點 development。如果冇聽咗 Crombie 講咧，就話係5年之內有25個 tower 會 erect， 咁所以即係咪咁快咧？我唔知啦。起碼佢有咁嘅目標咁樣係咪？咁當然要睇個樓市啦，即係如果 sell 得好唔好咁樣。但係喺個房屋供應嗰陣時咧， 係做得相當好啊。Josephine 包你有冇啲咩補充啊？
我覺得 Mississauga 咧係已經好早咧深謀遠慮㗎啦，而佢咧做咗一個叫做downtown design plan。咁呢個 plan 咧係好多 cover 好多 area 嘅，即係由 design 好多嗰個唔同嘅講即係transit parks and rec 已經係分配好啦。所以其實咧Bonnie Crombie 上咗場之後咧，整體咧個 planning 我覺得係好好嘅。我記得佢第一年嗰時咧，即係第二個 term 第一年嘅時候，我發覺咧，咦好多 consultation 喎，我仲話咩成日都 town hall，成日都 consultation 咁，原來佢真係做咗好多嘢㗎。咁當然啦 ，smart city 啦，好多嘢啦。咁我覺得呢個 downtown 係好好㗎，整係配合到成個 Mississauga 嘅經濟發展嗰個同埋嗰啲配套學校工作好多休閒區。即係好齊全
我就覺得你個計劃都
，sorry，Jenny 你有冇補充啊？
即係我覺得佢哋嘅計劃咧，如果 for 未來5至10年咧係好足夠嘅，同埋咧其實 before pandemic 之前咧已經好多唔同嘅族裔咧係移民嚟加拿大，即係包括亞洲同埋中東嗰方面咧，喺 Mississauga 咧已經好多我哋中東裔嘅移民咧嚟咗加拿大，咁所以咧其實係有需求咁多嘅房屋嘅，其實亦都可以 affordable。佢哋嚟嗰啲有好多嚟嗰啲都係好即係可以買屋買好多物業咁樣。
其實Josephine， 我想問你，
我可唔可以補充呢度咧？
係可以高係
因為咧 Mississauga 咧嗰啲移民Jenny 係講得好啱嘅。好多人誤會咗，中東喎，一諗起就難民喎。其實唔係㗎，因為佢哋係嗰個學歷係非常之高，平常嗰啲即係嚟得嚟加拿大嗰啲好多咧，就係已經係 engineer 或者係 professor。嗱，如果你上次你睇下 Iran 嘅飛機跌咗落嚟啦，嗰啲人咧，即係嗰啲 victim 咧係嗰個 background 嘅academic background 係幾高啦，係咪？咁所以喺 Mississauga 亦都係啦。咁好多響嗰個 city 嗰個西北角咧，全部都係中東人住嘅。咁咧就係你唔可以話佢係窮嘅，只不過係嗰啲叫做 illegal immigrants 先至係即係需要我哋照顧。但係佢哋通常咧1年之後佢哋都揾到工嘅。
好，我想帶大家睇一睇個圖片咧。咁咧就係即係我幾 impress 嘅。咁咧就大家都知道呢個 Twist 嘅 Coca-Cola bottle 啦，係嘛？咁呢個 Marilyn Monroe Tower 啦，咁呢個每次即係我行過 Mississauga 離遠就睇到呢個，即係一個 landmark 嚟嘅。咁如果冇睇錯咧，原來呢個 Twist Tower 咧，即係Crombie 講過咧，每日講過呢個亦都係即係類似同樣嘅 concept 嘅。咁佢其中咧就即係呢座 tower 都係 Twist 㗎，喺呢邊係咪？咁所以其實佢曾經講過話。如果Josephine 你可以解釋下，係咪你哋咧就係Mississauga 鼓勵一啲做一啲 outstanding 嘅 design 嘅 tower 係咪咁㗎？係，
佢係好呢個頭先我講嗰個design 即係 urban design 啦 plan 啦，就係好照顧嗰個城市嘅外貌嘅。咁嗱，你個 Marilyn Monroe Tower 咧係一座係50層。另外一座係55層嘅，因為我競選嘅時候我跑到上去 ，OK， 逐層跑上去。咁咧就佢嗰個嗰啲單位唔係好大，但係即係除咗 penthouse 啦 ，penthouse 好貴，幾百萬一層嘅，就好大嘅。成個 penthouse 都係兩座嘅啫。
Jenny， 我等緊你嗰個 penthouse 嘅 housewarming 啊。
係啊。嗰個 design 咧就係由比賽中選出嚟嘅，咁嗰個係華人嚟嘅 ，design 嗰個 Marilyn Monroe 嘅標。係
咩？相當之好啊！
好似姓黃嘅。
OK。好。
係咪香港？
好似中國內地人嚟嘅。
OK。咁 anyway，我哋即係可能要去一去 local economy 嘅下半期啦。我再播一條片先好嘛？ in Mississauga, right? So, we talk about May in Ontario, because like there's May in America, we got to be competitive. At the same time, Biden's administration is moving toward the green economy, which, in a way, Ontario is quite good, in the automobile industry with the electric vehicle. And I know that there's some of the manufacturers in Mississauga is actually doing the EV battery, those type of things. Not to mention a lot of other components. And, of course, we likely have some renewable energy type of infrastructure manufacturer in Mississauga. I don't doubt it. So let me ask you, based on the context with the Biden administration, the green economies, net zero, as well as the electric car is taking the wave, and then we are also competing over the border with the Maine, Ontario, Maine, America. How do you see the economy, all this, tenant that move into Mississauga, for the future year to come, we can continue to count on Mississauga as one of the employment, cluster in the GTA area. Is that something that we are looking for?
So we're a net importer of jobs. We have about 500,000 jobs in Mississauga. More people start and end their day in Mississauga that drive out to go work somewhere else. So we have 96,000 businesses here, 75 Fortune 500s, right? 1,400 multinationals. We're the business capital of Canada, to be sure, on a per capita basis. So we're very proud of that. And we have 4 key sectors. One of our largest is our life sciences sector.
Yes.
We have, of course, all the pharmaceutical companies are based here, the biotech, pharmatech. We have about 450 companies in that line of business. We could have made the vaccine here. We should have.
That's what I thought. We should have made Mississauga vaccine.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Life sciences is our big one, but of course we have IT here as well, just as everyone does. The innovation corridor goes right through Mississauga from, Waterloo, right through Mississauga to Toronto, and then up to Markham, right? They go right on the line, right up. So IT and of course finance, and then advanced manufacturing. When we have so many manufacturing plants, industrial plants, warehousing. We have food and beverage companies here. We have 90 hot offices, and clean tech is based out here as well. We have many clean tech companies, as you were mentioning earlier. So we're very pleased that many companies have chosen Mississauga as the place to invest. And I think that the fact that we have the 400 series highways in Mississauga, proximity to the airport, which is very, very important for many companies to have easy access to the airport. We have great governance here. There's a lot of stability with our governance. Hazel was mayor for 36 years, and that just provides a lot of confidence for people. We have an economic development office that helps companies land, they invest. We handhold companies as they look for real estate, as they look for employment lawyers or immigration lawyers. We do everything we can to make it easy for companies to land here. And of course, they see how great a city we are and how great the real estate is here, what great communities, neighborhoods we have, schools. So it is a place where people want to live, work, and invest, as I said earlier.
Oh. 呢個相當之好嘅 conversation。咁Jenny， 你有咩俾個 first feedback 先好冇？
佢講話好多 manufacturer 喺 Mississauga 啦，咁亦都講話將會發展好多 green tech， 即係佢亦都有好多 green tech 嘅公司會喺入邊啦。咁呢個其實 green tech economy 咧，根本 green energy economy 啦就其實根本咧已經係不停咁樣進步緊嘅。就 during 呢個 pandemic 啊。點解話 Alberta 嗰啲 gas and oil 點解會 lower down 咧？因為 green technology 咧根本個 economy 咧係 going up， 即係所以咧全世界咧其實應該方向就係向嗰邊㗎啦。咁佢個方向係好正確嘅。咁將來咧所有嘅 infrastructure 同埋所有嘅 building 咧都係 go for green， 所有呢啲街燈啊嗰啲嘢全部都係 go for green 㗎啦。咁我覺得佢
所以你係咪開正你嗰飯啊？
我開個 factory 喺度，但係如果開個 factory 喺度咧，我又要配合環保喎，即係你喺度要做一個 manufacturing plan， 你喺個 city 度，如果 city 係 support green economy 嘅， 咁你又要諗下嗰個 manufacturing plan 係要有嗰個叫環保嘅配套喺度啦。你唔可以製造好多嗰啲即係嗰啲即係有害嘅毒氣，即係唔係毒氣咧，有害嗰啲carbon dioxide too much when 你哋做嗰啲 manufacturing。咁其實係大方向係好好，佢個方向係非常之好嘅。
我去一去啲 graphic 啊，咁樣就即係可以咧，就大家可以感受到 Mississauga 其實咧係譬如 life science 啊呢啲一點點嗰啲就係嗰啲唔同嘅即係嗰啲life science 嗰方面嘅專長。咁阿 Josephine Power， 你哋嗰邊會唔會有能力可以做到一個即係嗰啲COVID vaccine 嗰啲 facility 啊？
我覺得絕對有嘅。我就唔明點解省政府同聯邦政府唔選 Mississauga 做其中一個主要點嚟到做 development。根本我哋有叻，同埋你睇下我哋所有嘅大嘅 pharmaceutical 嘅 company 咧，即係世界知名嘅，響晒度㗎。住叻啊！已經係做開嗰啲藥啊咁樣。GlaxoSmithKline 啊，好多。Amgen 啊，嗰啲係即係好大好大嘅。
其實我 sure 咧就譬如好似 Providence Therapeutic 咧，佢哋係做 mRNA 噶嘛。佢結果喺 Calgary 揾到個 facility， 咁可能佢我覺得佢應該揾過 Toronto 嘅。咁應該 Mississauga 呢個考慮過，可能真係冇 mRNA 嗰類型嘅 facility， 因為我哋可能有其他類型嘅 vaccine 嘅 facility， 可能就未必有呢方面嘅嘢。咁所以我諗都可能係即係，只不過係話即係我睇唔知點解咁多 life science， 原來係個 life science 嘅 cluster。
係啦。
另外咧就
同埋我哋已經係做緊 vaccine 㗎 ，flu vaccine 啊，其他嘅 vaccine 㗎。你知我哋人生咧唔係淨係打一樣㗎嚇，由細到大好多 vaccine。咁其實 Mississauga 已經係做得好好㗎。
有做 vaccine 嗰啲。
係啦，同埋係配合個 technology。頭先佢都講過啦，我哋好多 high tech 嘅。Microsoft 嗰個 head office 就響 Derry Road 嗰度㗎。Derry Road 同埋。你知唔知佢個所謂嘅 innovation corridor 喺邊度咧？我係咪喺 Britannia 嗰邊啊？ 唔應該係 Derry Road 以北嘅，即係嗰睇先。
係由東至西咁嘅，係啊，我記得。係啦，係啦。打橫嘅。
Mississauga Road 同埋 Derry Road 嗰度後邊全部好大嘅。
即係好多 HP 啊、Microsoft 啊嗰扎啦。
係啦 ，HP 個總部又喺度喎，所以其實我哋係好大嘅。就算你係嗰啲Ericsson 啊、Honeywell 啊、Oracle 啊，嗱呢啲係大公司嚟㗎嘛。
係全部喺晒嗰頭，我都有去過嗰邊嗰啲。
所以我覺得，如果大家真係有想投資咧，長遠投資，我覺得 Mississauga 係好嘅。你可以有好多配套俾你，唔需要我要一個 supply chain 又要全部做過晒。根本 Mississauga 就係好多 supply chain 喺度 ，logistic 啦，又要近嗰個機場啦
，airport 啦，係啦，
係啦 ，airport 啦。咁你仲有啊？你又近美國喎，
係。
你去 Hamilton 嗰度咧，去美國個邊境你又係近啲嘅喎，即係你比響。冇錯。
咁所以佢即係直通美國啦。嗱 ，Pearson Airport 係全北美第2 busiest 嘅加 after JFK 嘅 airport 啦。咁大家見到咧就嗱。原來咧，如果即係佢冇講錯 ，Clean Tech 有143間，咁所以咧就有好多 waterways 嗰啲嘢啦，環保嗰啲嘢啦。咁其實我哋即係覺得即係呢個 sector 呢個 diagram 相當之好，就可以充分表現 Mississauga 係一個好 dynamic， 由 industrial live work and play， 又有 good enough 嘅 housing supplies， 個 lakeshore 又開始咧就develop啦，咁係一個美好嘅理想嘅居住環境。咁不如我哋停一停。去一去下半場，去一去廣告，咁然之後再翻轉頭講其他啲問題，好冇？
好 ，thank you。
OK， 轉頭翻，歡迎各位又嚟到加國生活，每逢晚上11點至12點喺 FM105.9 廣播直播室，依然有我哋3位朋友講緊啊 Mississauga， 我哋訪問緊啊 Mayor Crombie 咁樣。咁你上半場講咗 economy， 下半場要講咩 public safety 啊？不如去一去條片先好嘛？咁呢度就係條片
Like people want to invest in Mississauga, and then we want to be assured. How is our safety, community? I remember a few years ago when we were in the safety summit, right?
I remember. Yeah.
I was so impressed when you gave me how safe we are in comparison to other cities of the same size.
So I'm very honored to be on the Police Services Board, as the other mayor, Mayor Brampton is, and the regional chair is as well. And I will tell you that this year we tried to keep the increase to a minimum, but at the same time, I think there is an expectation for residents to ensure there is safety in our communities. And, you know, we're on a per capita basis. We have lower police officers than other regions on a per capita basis. So we wanted to put more boots on the ground. So we got 27 new officers. Our increase was 3.7%, which was about $16.5 million. So, but it doesn't, it's about 2.9% on the net tax levy. So, you know, when we take that $16 million, you know, in the regional budget, it's very little. It's very little, but it was so important. It was so important, I think, signal that we need officers here, and we're going to ensure that we get them this year, and we keep building as well. But not only that, I will say that the officers we do have are so incredible. Not only are they so dedicated, they're very good at their jobs. You know, we have one of the highest solvency rates in Canada, meaning if a crime is committed in Mississauga or Brampton, because it's Peel Regional Police, the odds are they will find out who did it and solve that crime. It's over 75% solvency, and there are, you know, areas in Canada that are less than 50%. Right? They are very good at their jobs, very, very dedicated, wonderful men and women in uniform.
Either you got a great team over there, or there's some vendor in the Mississauga with the CSI software, you know, to make this happen. But
聽唔到。
Sorry， 我按唔好意思。咁即係去到個條片去到呢度先啦。咁其實Josephine Power， 我想問一問你 ，Mississauga 係咪真係好 safe 㗎？
咁樣嗱，喺2018年嘅時候咧，我同咧市長啦，同埋3級政府嘅人員咧，大概係100人啦，就喺嗰個市政府度開會嘅。講safety 嗰啲嘢，嗰次係好高度秘密㗎，嗰時就嗰啲content。咁咧就其中咧Bonnie Crombie 咧就講出咧，即係我哋嗰個crime rate 咧，如果 based on population 啦 in comparison to 即係北美洲加拿大其他城市係非常之好嘅，即係唔係話咁差嘅。咁同埋咧好多我哋嘅 problem 咧個來源啦。係 Toronto 嚟嘅，嗰陣時講下，而家就我唔知啦最近。咁嗰陣時咧就係所有好多嘅嗰啲人咧響年青人喺 Toronto 入嚟犯案。咁但係咧，其實咧點解你話75% 個 solvency rate 咧？其實嗰陣時佢哋話已經係知道邊啲人犯案嘅，甚至我哋係睇到佢哋 on the screen 即係邊啲人添。OK。即係當然我哋唔準筆錄啦，亦都唔準影嗰個熒光幕啦，即係嗰啲咁嘅。咁所以其實咧Peel Regional Police 咧其實都好胸有成竹，同埋咧佢係做咗好多 youth work 嘅。因為我哋有一班即係年青人都係有 problem 嘅。咁佢就 Peel Regional Police 咧就真係 organize 咗揾一啲 special task force 做咗好多 youth 嘅工作。所以你記唔記得 Jenny 我哋咪想請佢哋嚟做一個節目就係咁解。咁我哋要知道佢係點樣。所以我嗰陣時咧，因為嗰個 crime rate 咧，亦都係砰砰聲，突然間係有啲槍殺嗰啲咁嘅。尤其上嗰個市中心附近。咁我係好贊成係增加人手嘅，即係雖然我哋或者要俾多啲稅，我覺得係嗰個城市安全好緊要。無論你喺度住，你無論喺度玩，或者你無論你喺度工作、投資，係咪安全係緊要咧？係咪？因為呢樣嘢，我覺得係好值得啦。咁同埋最近咧，佢又 approve 咗咧，每個police officer 都按嘅有個 body camera。咁呢樣咧更加增加咗即係嗰個第日嗰個破案嘅機會咯。
咁其實Senator Victor Orr 咧， 以前我即係知道佢搞個叫做 Save Mississauga 係嘛？即係
唔係佢搞嘅，
唔係佢搞嘅。OK。
嗱，
佢
呢個係約阿 Jenny 就好識啦。其實呢個叫做 Safe City Mississauga。阿 Jenny 你講，因為你哋個商會有同佢合作。
Safe City Mississauga 其實係一個 non-profit 嘅即係 organisation 啦，佢係 funded by 有一部分唔同，有一部分係 from City of Mississauga 啦。咁佢其實以前啊 Senator 佢都係我諗係佢係其中一個director。咁即係呢個係一個 organisation 去 promote 點樣去，譬如話你個 city 點樣，即係成個 whole 成個城市嘅 safety 去 promote 啲人點樣去 neighborhood watch 嗰啲咁嘅 activity。咁我覺得都幾有 meaning 㗎。即係其實每一個 city 咧都有一個類似類型嘅一個 non-profit organisation 嘅。呢樣嘢係即係佢做得唔錯，但係咧就都要 depends on government funding 咯。都要 depends on government funding 咯，所以而家其實一個 city 會唔會 safe 咧？譬如好多人話啲問題都係由啲後生仔出現，咁其實係咪應該好多時政府係要諗下俾啲 funding 俾啲 organisation 去諗下，不如 prevent 或者去 educate 啲後生仔，或者去幫下嗰啲即係企喺邊緣嘅後生仔去犯案嗰啲，不如仲好啦。即係係。你話嗰啲係咪好安全？而家我感覺 Mississauga、Brampton、Mississauga、Peel Region 其實 getting better。咁尤其是 Mississauga， 咁又 Peel Regional Police 佢哋個 chief 新嘅 chief 佢哋都好努力地係啦，係好努力地做好多 diversity 方向嘅，即係唔同種族、唔同
明白。
種類。
我轉一轉個方向，想問另外一個問題。咁我咧就抄到 Mississauga 嗰個即係個 Pearl Region 嗰個 police 啊，咁就佢有好多 statistic 嘅。咁我即係其實嗰啲咧就見到其他嗰啲同其他啲大 city 個 ratio 都差唔多，咁我就唔講啦。咁但係我發覺咧就個 hate motivate crime 咧就似乎 relatively higher。咁譬如好似 York Region 係講緊少過50，即係譬如30幾咁嘅啫。咁但係去到咧皮爾區咧就講緊咧就係一路即係唔係上升嘅，2017年就比較多啲啦。2018年回落，我最近啲 figure 就唔知。咁其實我想問下兩位，你哋都喺 Mississauga 住嘅，你覺得個 hate crime 多唔多咧？尤其是嗰邊Muslim 比較多啲啊。
係，我哋個城市係Muslim 嘅 community 好大嘅。咁雖然佢哋其實即係都好平和嘅，但係咧大家咧總係對 Muslim 咧有一個唔認識誤解啊！咁同埋咧，將佢哋一諗，世界上如果有其他角落發生一啲大事嘅時候咧，即係嗰啲恐怖分子，佢哋就會聯想到即係響即係自己城市裏面嗰啲居民都係咁。所以咧，其實我哋嘅 Diversity and Inclusion Committee 咧都係做緊好多呢方面嘅嘢嘅。即係無論係Muslim 或者係其他嘅 religion 或者係其他嘅族裔都係逐步咧，即係希望大家緊密合作同埋明白啲啦。
冇錯，因為其實咧，我自己本身都係做生意啦，咁我哋都有請好多唔同種族嘅即係人士啦，咁我哋都有請 Muslim 㗎。咁佢哋有好多生活習慣咧，即係有時佢會話我會有一段時間咧，我係要祈禱嘅咁我哋好了解咯。同埋咧，我都希望成個 city 啦，或者成個 region 啦，啲人多啲了解下 Muslim。有時唔係話樣嘢都係佢哋嗰度發生出嚟嘅。有好多 Muslim 咧，佢哋係好 nice 㗎，係非常之好嘅，係好 honest。即係我希望educate 咯，譬如我講一個好快嘅例子啦，咁我請咗個學生，佢係 Muslim 嚟嘅，即係年青人啦。咁我就話你最近係 online 做嘢噶嘛？咁我話你 online 幫我搞呢樣搞嗰樣，咁其實我唔知佢有冇做噶嘛，係咪？即係 IT 嘅嘢你冇得搞。但係咧佢好笑喎，同我講：你今個禮拜你唔好俾 hour 我啦，因為我冇做過嘢啊。佢係好 honest 㗎。我話係咯，我話我 fix 咗俾你啊，唔使我都照俾你。你一定唔好啊，因為我真係冇做過嘢，即係我好 impress。希望咧 IT 即係唔好眼鏡對佢哋嗰個種族咯。
2017年咧就啱啱咁好咧，咁巧就係 ISIS 最巔峰期，咁所以當時嘅hate crime 比較多啲嘅。咁呢個即係舊年Black Lives Matter 啦，2019年嗰陣時都係咁嘅問題。咁我哋不如完咗呢個環節。
其實唔止嘅，仲有咧喺嗰個Peel District School Board 咧有2個 outbreak of racial 即係displeasure 嘅，即係點咧？第一嗰個 religious prayers in the classroom，OK 係好大件事嘅嗰陣時。咁另外咧一件事咧就係嗰個對於嗰啲black community 嗰啲 unfair treatment 嘅。咁所以咧後來咧而家咧就係安省嘅教育部咧係即係點assign 咗啲人啦 look after district school 幫佢哋 move on。
咁你話事不宜遲，我哋去一去嗰個 housing 嗰個 question 喺度，好冇？好。咁咧就去呢個 housing 嘅 question， 我 share 個 screen 先。I thought that affordable housing is a problem with Mississauga, but when I looked at it, it's not as bad compared to the other GTA city, Pine Markham, Richmond, Vaughan, or Toronto, right? So, but the price of the house, for if I remember, in Mississauga, I think they're in the 16% rise.
Yes.
Last year, and then the condo is also catching up. So based on the the affordability, of the Mississauga area, I'm not 100% sure, and with the inclusionary zoning is being passed in Ontario. What is the strategy of Mississauga in the housing supply? I think there's 25 towers upcoming. There should be enough housing supply. What about the affordability? Have you guys project the next 5 or 10 years will the housing price continue to increase? How that's going to affect the affordability in Mississauga area?
And I remember Mississauga implemented they making the room for the middle.
That's right.
Effective last April, right? April last year. Was it April last year?
Oh, the missing middle. The missing middle.
Yeah, making room for the middle.
Wanted to get a bit more light. Ooh, too much. Okay.
Too much.
You are the light. You are the light.
So we are the first city, and maybe still the only city that has a strategy for affordable middle-class housing. Because at the end of the day, the region of Peel does the subsidized housing for people who can't afford their housing. And, of course, we have a long wait list like everybody, but we do purchase units each year to add them to our inventory. But Mississauga, we were concerned about being priced out of the market. We want people to live and work in our city. So if you work in the service industry, or if you're a teacher or a librarian or a nurse, we want you to be able to afford to live in the city that you work in. We have so many jobs. So we thought, let's do something for the middle class. Obviously, I don't worry about the upper end. They can take care of themselves a little more. And of course, we have big, beautiful homes here for everybody. But let's look at the middle class. So the average sale of a price of a home when we did the study was, about $900,000. The average price of a home, 4-bedroom home in Mississauga in 2020, $875,000. Our vacancy rate used to be 1%. I think it's climbed a little bit now. It's about 2%. 3% is healthy, so we're not there yet. And we also know that 30% of households spend more than 30% of their income on housing. So that's really, really tough. And as I said, we wanted people to live here. So we had a goal of inspiring, incentivizing developers to build purpose-built rental and affordable ownership houses, homes and condos, of course. So aiming for incomes that are, $60,000 to $100,000, which is pretty for an average family, an average middle-class family, around $100,000. So around the price point of about $450,000 for a unit that's a family-sized unit, affordable, or about $1,600 rental for a family. So those were our goals, and we had a panel that had all the experts on it from the province, from the industry, on how do we incentivize the buildings, and we came up with about 40 recommendations on how to do that, and that's been passed by our council. And of course, we need cooperation from other levels of government. But yes, inclusionary zoning is a part of it. It is everywhere. So that when you have a big new development, you have to have a percentage set aside for affordability. And I don't mean subsidized, I mean for middle class housing, you know, so that we have families that can afford to live there. And so far we have the Peel Daniels project right in the downtown core, which will bring 174 low and middle income units to the downtown. We have new market rental housing as well as another Daniels project on Eglinton and Erin Mills, another more than 300 units happening there, and so many in the pipeline. I could go through the list, but so the developers got the message. So no matter what you build, and if you have multiple large development with multiple buildings, then you may want to allocate just one building that's affordable for middle class. Now, I'm not talking about subsidized, right? There's a difference here. Subsidized housing the region of Peel provides, because what we tend to do with the subsidized housing is same as everybody does. You get the ordinary building, whether it's condo or rental, and the region will go in and purchase a number of units, and that's where we subsidize the rent for people there so that they're integrated. And that's the best way to do it. Not build large barracks was the old way of doing it, right? Like the region parks of the world, and we know that now. We've redeveloped that area, and it's beautiful, and everybody wants to live there.
Yeah.
Sounds like you have a lot of friendly developers to do the business together with you guys, you know, and solving some of the local problem. Really? 咁我哋就播到呢度啦。咁其實 Jenny 同埋Josephine， 你哋有啲咩 immediate 嘅 feedback？
阿 Jenny 講先啦。
嗱，我就覺得咧，佢即係做呢個咁嘅 development 啦，咁俾我突然間諗起而家好多即係而家呢個世代啲後生仔咧，畢咗業啊，做咗幾年啦，都買唔到屋啦嚇。唔好講話即係亞洲啦，而家準備加拿大好多地方，而家好多人都 complain 話買唔到屋。咁但係佢呢樣嘢咧喺個 pandemic 之後做咧，咁我覺得咧係即係佢諗得好完美，即係諗得好完美，因為點解咧？希望可以將個即係一個充滿希望一個 planning 啦。咁等啲畢咗業嗰啲又唔使驚冇工做啦，開始好多工做啦。第二，亦都 planning for 佢哋將來會可以買到屋。咁呢樣嘢咧，我好即係我聽到我好喜悅，因為點解咧？我哋呢一班準備係退休㗎啦，遲多幾十年，但係下一班咧真係可以買到屋喎。咁我覺得呢個係非常之好嘅 planning 咯。
Josephine， 不如我就做少少 comment 啦。我去咗個 graphic 先。
好啊，我翻嚟我講下嗰啲 project 俾你聽。係
啦，咁然之後嗱，你因為我就即係睇好多house affordability 嗰樣嘢。咁好多 city 咧就成日咧就即係諗住要點樣 solve 嗰啲即係甚至乎啲 low income 嗰啲。咁但係 Mississauga 睇到一個好重要嘅信息。嗰啲低收入嗰啲，你冇辦法 catch up 個 market， 亦都唔可以揾啲 developer 係 solve 一啲 affordable 嘅 unit 嘅問題，因為呢個係 as a matter of economy，right？ 你講緊 business 嗰陣時，你即係 twist arm 叫啲 developer 做個 win-loss 嘅 situation 係咪？咁所以咧就 Mississauga take 咗個 effort， 我哋唔搞 low income 嗰啲啦，我哋就搞 middle income， 由 55K。去到呢個 104K 嗰度，咁而嗰個價錢係45萬，同埋1600蚊租，我覺得係好合理嘅。咁所以我覺得個策略係相當之 smart 嘅。咁啊 ，Josephine 你繼續啊。
係頭先Bonnie 啦，Bonnie Crombie 佢講過咧 Daniel 嘅 projects 啦，其實 Mississauga 做咗好多年，不過大家唔係好留意啦，可能其實 along Eglinton 響貴嘅地啦，又係響貴嘅地啦 ，OK， 好方便嘅，即係響 between Erin Mills Parkway 同埋Highway 10啦，個南邊啦，其實有好多 project 啦，係嗰啲 low cost， 即係點樣啊，好平賣出嚟嘅屋喎，咁響呢個Winston Churchill 同埋 Eglinton 咧，又係嗱。如果你行過咧，因為啲屋太靚啦，你係唔知道佢係咁平嘅。嗰陣時買出嚟咧，好平嘅單位咧係16萬、18萬，至到20幾萬咧已經係幾個房㗎啦。咁所以咧，其實 Mississauga 都係有呢啲咁嘅 比較有良心嘅 developer 喺度嘅。咁當時咧嘅 Peel Region 咧亦都有一個特別嘅津貼嘅，就叫無償貸款。就年青人啦，阿 Jenny 就話你頭先你講啦，年青人我幫你買屋，你只要買即係嗰個 cost within 咁多錢啊，你唔可以買貴屋。咁5年之內咧，你唔買屋唔 flip 咧，咁你借嗰啲錢咧就唔使還，咁都係幾萬蚊嘅。
哇，咁犀利嘅！
係，所以我嗰日問阿 Chair 啦，但係可能而家就冇錢繼續做啦。
嗰個叫咩 program 啊？嗰個
係叫做 non-compensation 嘅 loan 嚟嘅，係俾嗰啲 young people 嘅，即係20零歲嗰啲咧，即係第一次出嚟做工，佢唔可以
first home buyer
啦，同埋即係佢真係 fresh from start 咁樣。咁我覺得係非常之好，同埋嗰陣時我睇過啲單位㗎 ，Daniel 嗰啲我入去啦，16萬嗰啲咧，就喺嗰個好似 basement level 又唔係 basement level 嘅，咁啊落幾級啦，喺個路面啦。咁但係你有你自己嘅洗手間、廚房、one bedroom， 行出嚟有少少嘅 patio， 我覺得係好好咯，十幾萬嗰陣時，而家講起嚟都差唔多10年前啦就。
好，咁而家仲有7-8分鐘到。咁如果冇乜特別嘢，不如去 transportation 好嘛？
好啊。
Jenny 你係咪有嘢補充啊？講嘛。
冇啊，我覺得好啊，俾年青人上會，因為佢哋辛苦㗎，又驚揾唔到工，如果揾到工又要。
好，咁我哋去一去嗰個最後嗰個環節啦，就係講個 transportation 啦。咁呢個就係
Mississauga is going to have the light rail transit. And you know what? I'm so proud that you made some changes, right? To make it the loop to serve the high rises, the residents of the high rises, like behind Square One, right? You can tell us a little bit more about this project and how did you go about it to make it, like such a change after even work has already started at Dundas, right? At that point.
So a couple things. Let's talk about the LRT, which will travel north and south along here, Ontario. It's 19 kilometers and 18 stops. It does stop a little after at Brampton Shoppers World. They did not agree to have it move into we had hoped to take it right to the GO station because ours intersects at both the Cooksville GO and of course starts at the Port Credit GO and goes north. And each stop is about 1 kilometer long at all the major intersections in Mississauga. And yes, we very much hope to have it loop around the downtown because there is so much development going on, and we gave parking considerations, for many of those developers in those buildings because there would be public transit. They needed less they didn't need to provide as much parking spaces for those units. Unfortunately, the provincial government has taken that element out of the design, but there's still time. We will be breaking ground this year, of course, and the work has started. They've shifted utilities underground, and they've expropriated land and all that. So I'm very hopeful that by the time we get up to here, Ontario and Burnhamthorpe, that we'll have found the additional funding to put the loop back in for the downtown. So we're very, that's great news. And of course, we're looking at bus rapid transit as well. The Lakeshore line has been is announced for funding from the provincial government. And that's so important because of all the development occurring on Lakeshore. And then the Dundas line, we're waiting for an announcement about a BRT on Dundas. So from Kipling Station all the way to UTM for the students, right? So that they have bus rapid transit on a dedicated lane there too. So those, and then of course, that we have a transit way that is constantly building each year, building ridership, and it's parallel to the 403 highway, and it's about 18 kilometers. Once again, a bus rapid transit, but that could be converted to light rail at some point too. So lots of plans to move Mississauga forward, literally move us, build in more public transit in Mississauga because it's needed. And, we're looking at the new developments, Brightwater and Lakeview, and, make sure that they connect into the GO train stations or into LRT from those developments. And so they're looking at some very unique solutions, which we saw in Sweden, like driverless shuttles, right? Autonomous shuttles, right? So very unique solutions we're looking at everywhere to get people moving on public transit in Mississauga. So you can leave your car at home. We've been a car-focused city for too long, and it is time that we leave our dependence on the car and all of us start to embrace more public transit.
好，就講到呢度先。咁其實咧，我想問一問Josephine Powell，佢喺嗰個 Ontario LRT 我就知有南至北，喺 Lixor 嗰度有個 bus rapid transit 嗰個係咩情況咧？
嗰個係新嘅，其實咧嗰個 Like Rapid Rail 咧嗰個其實好點啊，好 controversial 嘅。點解咧？好多人唔認為係需要啊。點解咧 ？Mississauga 嘅人咧唔會搭 transit 去到 Brampton 做嘢嘅 ，OK？ 所以咧係當時咧係大家嘅意見非常之不同嘅。我哋好多人話係應該係西同東嘅連接㗎，所以佢一定咧要繼續發展啊，唔可以淨係呢一條線嘅。而如果需要用嘅時候咧，我諗係比較多啲係 Mississauga 嘅人用啦，呢個 transit。咁就
但係其實我就即係暫時家可能係即係冇南至北，但係其實佢講緊個發展咧，就即係希望兩個 city 成個 Peel Region 打通咧。如果大家睇到咧，就係話18個 kilometre 咧，咁然之後佢有成19個站，咁然之後呢由南至北呢就去 Ontario 啦。咁上邊咧 suppose 有條 Brampton LRT 啦，咁家下咧就可能俾個即係個 bus rapid transit 即係個 Zoom 搞掂啦。咁但係可以 eventually 都有個 LRT。喺長遠方案嚟講咧，即係如果你講緊 GTA 或者講緊 Pearl 咧，呢條路咧可能係 build 個 future 嗰個唔可以講個 direction，another opportunity 令到佢哋更加 integrate。我覺得係即係都。喺即係個方向大方向 20 years from now 係一個 good 嘅 infrastructure 嚟㗎。
因為點解咧？由 Britannia 以北咧，嗰個 population density
我知道
低嘅，所以咧變咗咧呢條路咧，暫時嚟講咧個用途就冇咁大啦。因為如果我哋嘅 city centre 真係為 Mississauga 嘅居民嚟講咧，就係應該由嗰個Kipling 嘅 subway。一路去到即係穿過市政府，再到去我哋西邊Winston Church 嗰度咧，就會比較個用。
咁其實時間過得真快啦，差唔多夠時間。Jenny 可唔可以即係有個 final comment on 呢樣嘢？咁我哋就完啦，好嘛？
嗱，我咁睇埋頭先最後尾個 transportation 嗰度啦，咁我就覺得市長咧，佢鋪排緊咧未來呢5年之後咧，就係個城市咧就係 go for more green， 即係減少碳排放，咁呢樣嘢係好嘅。咁而佢個 transportation 就係 encourage 啲人咧就多啲搭巴士。
冇錯。
Josephine 冇錯 ，Josephine 講得冇錯。另外一條線係必須要計劃嘅，但係我諗佢哋冇諗過咯。但係如果你話 encourage 個個人都搭巴士或者係 underground 咁啦 ，whatever， 將來希望有subway添，咁更加。咁我覺得economic recovery 個 plan 咧就係 good plan，is a good plan。
好，今日多謝晒大家咁啊！即係我哋今日個環節就完咗。Once again， 恭喜發財，身體健康，萬事如意。
恭喜發財。
OK， 好啦，同埋 Happy Valentine Day 啊！啱啱 Valentine Day，OK， 好啦，拜拜。
拜。